All right. Before the show starts, going to do a little introduction. I'm Corey, joined by my co-host Corey.
What's going on, everyone?
So, just want to have a few minutes before the show to talk about the situation going on.
The thing that should not be said. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. In Harry Potter, there's Voldemort, he who shall not be named. It's kind of like the thing that everyone knows happened, but we'll talk about it. We are no longer members of Wrestling with the Bros.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that this happened. Decisions were made. Things were said. Things were posted without mine and Corey's consent. Those were the words of our former associate, not ours. So we want to clear that up. We do wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavors. But
Absolutely.
we have this new project, and we're bringing in two of our buddies to help us out. Yeah. First up, Mark Richard. Mark, for this channel, is going to be our rookie because he's a wrestling fan. He likes wrestling. He's been to North Pro, but he doesn't know a lot about the rest of Maritime wrestling. So he's basically going to be learning on the fly.
I'm excited to have him in here. I think he's going to be... Well, first of all, he's hilarious. He cracks me up all the time.
He's hilarious.
You've known him for years. You met him. You were working with him, right?
I worked with him, yeah.
Yeah, so I've known Mark for, 5-6 years now. He's a chill dude, man. I like him a lot.
Really chill.
And I think he's going to be a good addition to this podcast. But we have another co-host.
We do. So Jason Casey will be joining us as well. Jason almost rivals me when it comes to knowledge of wrestling and maritime wrestling. He's an amazing artist on the Maritime Warrior. He's done my logo. He did the theme song, and he did the theme song that you're about to hear in a couple of minutes. He brings a lot of value to the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling podcast, and we're super excited to have him on. Anything else to say, Corey?
No, I think I'm excited about it. I think it should be a fun project. Corey and I have an addiction to doing some side projects. During the off season in hockey, there's definitely a little bit of downtime, and there's a lot of good maritime wrestling to cover. So,
absolutely,
we plan to, support maritime wrestling, get out to some shows, and just talk, have fun. This is going to be a pretty chill. The plan is like a good chill podcast. We're going to talk a lot about maritime wrestling, talk with people involved in maritime wrestling, but also just have fun, man. You'll get to know all of us. We've got side hustles. I know Jason volunteers for the Tri-City Tide. I do the Unofficial Blizzard Senior Hockey League podcast as well as a podcast for hospice. Work at hospice. Corey is my he's the Robin to my Batman for the Unofficial Blizzard Senior Hockey League podcast. He's a huge part of that team. He's also just involved in maritime wrestling, Maritime Warrior. So I think we all bring something dynamic, and I think Mark's going to bring a lot of humor. Mark's got the best sense of humor, and he's learning a lot about maritime wrestling, but he also has a great knowledge of mainstream wrestling. So
absolutely,
he brings a lot to the table. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, and I hope you enjoy episode 1. Reminder, this is going to be a weekly series. So every Wednesday night at 6 p.m., the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling podcast. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the show.
See you at the ring.
See you at the ring.
This is the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling podcast. Feel the pain in the blast. Through the ropes, through the fight, Maritime Wrestling rules the night. The past, the present, the future. Maritime Wrestling never dies.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling podcast. I will be your host, Corey Vautour, known as the Maritime Warrior someplace. other places known as a cranky little elf on the Unofficial BSHL podcast. Speaking of Unofficial BSHL podcast, joining me today, Corey Robichaud, the big boss himself. How's it going?
Oh man, I'm just living the dream over here, having a great day. Nobody calls you the Maritime Warrior. You call yourself the Maritime Warrior. You force your mom to call you the Maritime Warrior, but that's where it ends.
Sure.
What a guy. What a guy. We're not alone today, Corey.
We are not joined with Jason Casey. What's going on, brother?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for making me a part of this.
Absolutely. You know, you're always welcome here, and it's going to be a regular thing, too. But we have a fourth. Mark Richard, also known as Mark the Mark. What's going on?
What up? Good evening, folks. And thank you as well for having me. I was looking forward to it. Very, very excited.
Absolutely. How's it going with you guys? I know, Jason, the Tri-City Tide, you're a part of that. What's going on there?
Getting ready for some events this weekend. It was just announced that there's going to be a viewing party for their away games. The team will be in Newfoundland on Friday, Saturday, Sunday for some games against the Newfoundland Rogues. So St. Louis Bar and Grill is going to host a watch party all weekend. So you guys can go watch the games and have some wings, fries. There's a couple of guys on the team that are injured, so they will be there as well. The owner of the team will be there. So yeah, we're going to go hang out. Wings. There you go. Yeah, so we're going to go hang out, watch some ball, and first home game is next Saturday, the 15th, against the Halifax Hoopers. Okay. Going to be a great time the day after the North Pro show, so I won't be rested at all, but we're going to go work and have as much fun as we can, I guess.
Mark, what's going on with you? How's life?
Life is good. I've been, healthy. Can't ask for more.
Can't ask for more, huh?
Yeah, pro show coming up.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that at the end.
That's not a segue, by the way.
You just got a promotion. You just got a temporary promotion. Congratulations to that.
Very short, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
I mean, you know what? I've got something that's very short, but I appreciate it too.
All right, enough with short jokes. Enough with short jokes. I hear that enough all day. We're going to start off something. It's not going to be every week. But we will, since it's the first episode, we're going to talk about new champions in the Maritimes. First one, Chip Chambers is crowned the first ever Maritime heavyweight champion. Thoughts on this gentleman?
This belt's beautiful. Let me start there.
Beautiful.
I fucking love it. Dave Boyce has a good taste in belts.
Absolutely.
Good taste in belts, bad taste in senior hockey teams. That's all I can say about Dave.
Bring no coal miners. We miss him.
Hey, Donair Burgers.
Oh, they were good.
Yeah, having a belt on Chip is a no-brainer. I mean, been around the industry a long time. He puts the work in. I find he's one of the most underrated guys currently in the Maritimes, and it's nice to have him be the champion, be the face of Dave Boyce Championship Wrestling.
DBC, baby.
You know what I mean? Give him the push, give him the chance.
Mark, have you seen this belt?
I have not, to be honest with you. And honestly, I was just about to add as well. Like
you keep talking. You keep talking. I will send the picture in the group chat. So keep talking. So we'll get a live reaction.
Actually, yeah,
we'll get a live reaction of Mark seeing the Maritime heavyweight belt for the first time. If I can find there,
we're gonna pop Mark's cherries everywhere. We're gonna bring in some IW shows.
Bring Mark. This is the original. That is beautiful. It has a flag on it, Corey, with no E.
Fuck you, man.
Oh, I know. Beautiful. It's a Canadian flag, so
yeah. If you gotta put a flag, that's the flag to put. Support local.
Amazing. Amazing. It's bedazzled.
Bedazzled. Going over to UCW, Rudy Lockhart and Hollywood Cole. Hollywood Cole loses a belt and then wins one, but he loses the UCW Atlantic Canadian title to Rudy Lockhart. Thoughts on this? I think the sky's the limit for Rudy Lockhart.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's hot. Doesn't matter what promotion he goes to, whether he's a heel or a face. He he plays both gimmicks very well. When he's a face, he's over with the crowd.
Yeah.
He might only be 5 feet tall, but man, he's like a little rocket. It's unbelievable watching him in the ring.
He's got that it factor.
100%.
What is it? I don't know. But you look at him; he has a swagger. Whether he's a babyface or a heel, he has it. The sky's the limit. Like I said, Corey, what do you think?
Got a good body. I think he's developed. He's grown, gotten a little bigger. Just looks good. Fits in the ring. He's one of those guys. First time that I saw him, I was like, "This guy's like a little Von Erich or something." Like he has a look.
He does.
And
dude, yeah,
I enjoy that look a lot. He's improved too gradually throughout the years. So I think he's been wrestling pretty much everywhere. He's one of those guys you see in multiple promotions around the Maritime. So
Yeah.
good for Rudy. Unfortunate for Hollywood Cole, but
Well, not so unfortunate, but we're going to let Mark talk a little bit about Rudy before we get to the next one. What do you think about this? Rudy Lockhart winning the Atlantic Canadian title.
well, I think he's really, really good, and he's one of those guys that's really proving himself recently, and it's like you said, like he's been appearing in a bunch of different promotions and really like getting out there and getting exposure, and I think getting the reps in is really working wonders, right? Because we've seen him. Well, as you would know, right, I had showed up at the last North Pro show.
Yeah.
That was in Moncton at the Tide and Boar, and you can see that he's improving as we go, right? So well earned, absolutely.
So Mark is going to be our rookie. He is not that familiar with Maritime wrestling, but he is going to be learning on the fly. And that's something that I wanted, is someone that's not really knowledgeable about all the promotions. He's been to Northborough. We've seen WWE, AEW, and all that. But I want to see episode 1 and episode 52 in a year from now. See how Mark has grown as a Maritime wrestling fan. But yeah, Rudy Lockhart as the Atlantic Canadian champion. He beat Hollywood Cole for the belt. Later that night, Hollywood Cole jumps into a 4-way and wins the UCW heavyweight title for a second time. And might as well mention this. He ends up winning the Parkside Pub Championship as well. So for a hot minute there, he was Cole 4 belts. Thoughts on Hollywood Cole?
it's another guy who had a heck of a 2024. Maybe nobody had a better 2024 in the Maritimes. Setting himself up for the same thing in 2025. And it's not just a great 2024, it's also the trust we're seeing put in him by New Scott, by Lincoln Steen. All kinds of promoters are putting belts on Hollywood Cole.
Yep.
I think that says something when the community respects you and your peers respect you. That's my opinion.
Yeah, like he doesn't let it go to his head either. The man is humble beyond compare. And he puts the work in. Like he doesn't have a second job. This is his full-time job. He wrestles for a living. So when you do that in the Maritimes, because everybody knows how hard it is to wrestle only in the Maritimes and only wrestle for income, you really need to push yourself. And that's what he's been doing. Mm-hmm. He's been on every promotion out there pretty much. He travels more than probably anybody else. I'm sure he's put 10,000 kilometers on his car in 2024 at least. You know what I mean? So yeah, he deserves it, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, and kind of to add on to that, like honestly, I think he is in the conversation for like Maritime Performer of the Year in 2024, but also again in 2025. I think it'll be about the same, if not better.
He's an early favorite for sure. I can't remember the last time a Maritime wrestler had 4 championship belts at the same time. We've seen the picture. Hollywood Cole did that. 2 more champions before we move on. Larry Horowitz winning the NBWA heavyweight title in CCW. One of the most over acts in the Maritimes. Thoughts on this?
Probably the wrestler that I know the least out of this group. I followed CCW to a point, I don't get to a lot of shows in Fredericton. I don't have a ton of time to watch their stuff on YouTube. It's one of the things I'm most looking forward to, and probably something I'm trying to commit myself to this summer is when hockey's done and I have a little more free time, get to Fredericton, hang out with my cousin Connor. First of all, I'm biased.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with my cousin Connor. CCW puts on shows in Doketown, so I get to go have a burger, hopefully. And they put on shows in Minto. So stuff that's like, it's not necessarily local to us, but it's also not that far from us.
It isn't.
And these are hockey rinks that we go to for senior hockey. So getting there and getting some pictures and hanging out is kind of my plan for this summer. And I'm happy for him. I think he sat next to us at an IHW show.
He did.
With Mariah and some others. And he's super chill, super funny guy. So I've only seen him wrestle a couple times. But I'm looking forward to getting to more of his work. Clearly, if the CCW guys who have a ton of experience are trusting him, putting belts on him, or the MBWA, one and the same, let's be honest, there's something to be said there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. His gimmick is second to none. I mean, it reminds me of Welcome Back, Kotter. You know what I mean? The 1970s, the whole disco, like you said, Corey, he's over with the crowd. His music hits, and it's unbelievable. He reminds me of a Wayne Jugs. As soon as the music hits, boom! You know what I mean? Everybody knows who it is. Everybody's dancing. Everybody's cheering. So putting your trust in somebody to put a belt on them, be the face of your company. I mean, if you're that over, you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those cases where if you don't capitalize, maybe it's going to be too late by the time you do it. I think it was the right time. And to be honest, I've enjoyed his run so far. He's already got one title defense in the books. He beat Scott Lee Crew of Crude Oil. Mark, you're not too familiar with CCW, are you?
Not very, but there are some names that I have heard of, based on Facebook, based on the internet in general, and that is one of the names that I've heard in the past, right, along with like Scott Lee Crew, and like, if you can beat Scott Lee Crew, there must be a reason. So let's be honest, right?
We will definitely be looking forward to going to that Minto show coming up in, I believe, April. We'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. But final champion that we're going to talk about, the same night that Hollywood Cole won the Parkside Pub title, he immediately lost it to Jonathan Cross. Jonathan Cross has been making the rounds in the Maritimes, really been making a name for himself, a student of Troy Merrick. Thoughts on him winning his second title?
I think personally, Jonathan Cross is the Nova Scotia champion, more or less. He does all of his stuff mostly in Nova Scotia. I don't think I've really seen him wrestle in New Brunswick yet.
I've seen him wrestle in the Shediac show. He was there for that.
Okay. But other than that, we've had conversation in the past that he likes to stay pretty close to home. So he wrestles a lot in Nova Scotia. But again, he's over with the crowd as well, whether he's a heel or a face. He has his following. And it almost seems it doesn't matter what promotion or what show you go to. If Cross is on the card, his whole following follows, which is fantastic for a promotion, right? Because you're guaranteed to bring in X amount of people because that one wrestler is bringing his posse with him. Yeah. So why not put a belt on him? I mean, if he's going to bring half the crowd, put a belt on him, you're going to guarantee that promotion is going to have half the crowd selling tickets.
Yeah.
So just makes sense.
I think it's interesting that a guy can stay close to home in the Halifax, Dartmouth area, and there's enough promotions there to keep him pretty darn busy. So it says a lot about that Nova Scotia scene right now. And I love how it's kind of grown, maybe to a point where somebody said something the other week, there's only so many weekends where you can have a show and everything's just booked up. So,
Mark, have you seen Jonathan Cross wrestle?
I have not. I believe, I've seen like clips, but I don't recall exactly. Like I've been watching a lot of clips there on the internet, on social media, but like in a lot of cases, I don't recall like really. But good, really, really good for those people to have that following and really bringing them success in their adventure, I guess we could call it, right? So
for whatever reason, that Shitty show was taking pictures. First time I've seen him wrestle live. He's got a very intimidating presence.
He does.
And I don't know why. He's one of the guys that when like I was taking pictures and I was like, fuck, I don't want to get in his way. Because he's very intimidating. Like Giant Orion probably was less intimidating than Jonathan Cross, which makes very little sense in my brain. But that was my take.
Yeah, that's. I think it's his overall vibe. Very nice guy though. We've talked a lot, like behind the scenes and stuff. But he is older. He didn't come into wrestling as a young gun, as a 20-year-old. He started wrestling, started training. I think he was like 35. Yeah. So you know what I mean. For him, it's different. It's something that he's always wanted to do, and he wanted to do it before it was too late. Yeah. And now he's to the point where he's going to do it. He's going to do it close to home. He's going to enjoy it. But I think it's to the point now where he's caught the bug. So now he's not doing it just because it was, I want to try it and see where it goes. Now I got to do it because I like it and I can't stop.
Don't be telling Corey that 35 is old. This guy's going to go into a depression over here.
Hey, I'm 50, so he's not old.
Jonathan Cross, I saw him wrestle twice. His rookie year, he wrestled in North Pro. I believe in that September 2021 show.
It was September 4th, actually.
Yeah, September 4th, yeah. So he was in the gauntlet match versus Troy Merrick, and I saw him at that Shediac show. So, Jonathan Cross, keep your eyes on him. One of the best in the Maritimes. Before we move on to results from this weekend's show, Kirk Obey and Jason Boa make it to SmackDown. Jason Boa even having a speaking role.
That is rare.
Rare, cool. But not the first time that we've seen these two on WWE TV as a paramedic, security guard, but Jason Boa actually getting a speaking role
with Cody
the
Rhodes.
WWE champion, with Cody Rhodes. That's insane. And Kirk Obey, what can you say? I like Kirk Obey a lot. He's a little bit everywhere. He's in IHW, he's in CCW, doing a great heel work in CCW right now. But thoughts on this?
Obey Kirk Obey.
Obey Kirk Obey.
I mean, it's fantastic. Anytime that you can see local talent, friends, make it to the big screen, make it to the big company, you got to applaud it. I mean, there's some luck involved, I'm sure, but there's a lot of hard work on their part to get where they were, to get on screen like that. So, I applaud them. I hope we get to see more of them on the screen.
Absolutely, same here.
We were at a hockey game when SmackDown was going on, and New Scott shared that picture, and Corey's like, "Holy shit, Jason Boa!" And he shows it's like standing there with Cody Rhodes. It was it's wild. It's wild,
crazy.
Yeah. You were probably in our chat. You're probably in Roxanne's chat.
Of course I was probably. The other night, I think I had like 4 chats going at the same time.
There you go, attaboy.
Mark, did you see this?
I did, yeah, and it's the same one. I was, it's exciting to see that stuff, for them to get opportunities, because it doesn't seem so realistic, even going to shows, and you're like, oh, cool, this guy's doing really, really good, and then you see them have success like that, you're like, no way, dude, I'm so happy for them. If you don't personally know them, but you're so excited for them.
Yeah, I mean, You take a guy like Jason Boa, or even Kirk. I was just at he was just at a North Pro show. You know what I mean? Jason Boa was just at a show 2 months ago, whatever. You know what I mean? And now you're seeing him on TV with Cody. Hello. You know what I mean?
I don't remember if it was that show that I went to and talked to him, but I remember there was a picture of him in Malachi Black.
Yeah.
And the one thing I talked to him about, he was wearing a Mayhem t-shirt, which is one of my all-time favorite bands. So I was like, I'm into black metal too.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. I've got to
Really?
chat to him a little bit because of the website that I'm building and stuff. So I've had a chance to chat to him a few times about that and just designs and stuff. And I like to talk, so I'll introduce myself to any wrestler that's out there and strike up a conversation and go from there. But yeah, really nice guy, very down to earth.
How's your website development coming, Jason? For people that don't know, talk a little bit about that for me.
It's coming. It's the actual development of the site itself is coming along pretty good. I've got like all of the promotions all buttoned up pretty much. I'm still working on some behind the scenes stuff. Profiles for the wrestlers are coming in slowly, not as fast as I would like, but they are coming in. I am getting messages from people. A lot of it is wrestlers are waiting for new promo pics. So springtime, a lot of new shows. So I figure in the next month or so, I mean, this month alone, I think there's 8 or 9 different shows coming up. So a lot of photographers, a lot of promo pics being done. I had Sebi's profile done. He just sent me new promo pics this week. So updated all of his. As of right now, I have 19 profiles completed. I've got referees, managers, wrestlers, and there's probably about another 80 that I'm awaiting for. But yeah, it's going really well. It's going to be a nice community site. This podcast is going to have its own page. So it... all of our promotion stuff, all of our links, everything will be all on there. It'll be a place for the community to find all of our information in one place, and then go from there. Maritime Warrior will have its own section for the history of maritime wrestling. So yeah, it's going good. We're gonna have a fan talk section where people can go in and ask questions and ask wrestler questions. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool.
You said around
mid to late April. I'd like to launch it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. So let's get into one show happened this weekend. Kaizen. Can't Rush Greatness. Jason, you watched this show.
I did. I watched the show this week on IWTV. Good show.
Let's get into the results, and we'll have a little chit chat about it.
Sure. So the first match started with Dawson James versus Benoit Gravel. Good match. I like Dawson James. He reminds me of an Andre Myatt. So old school type wrestling. If somebody told me, if I didn't know Dawson and you told me, oh yeah, the guy's been wrestling 10 years, I'd believe you. Guy's only been wrestling about a year.
Yeah, he's like super new.
Yeah, so he caught on very quick. Him and I have had discussions about this in the past. Yeah, he's caught on quick. He looks like a seasoned vet already. I can't wait to see where he goes. Benoit Gravel, same thing. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how long he's been wrestling, but
been a number of years now.
Yeah, I mean, he continues to impress. He's got great in-ring skills. He's over with the crowd. Like, he puts his fingers in the air. The crowd goes crazy. You know what I mean? So it was a good match. It was an old school type match, and it was a good way to start off the night.
So I agree. They're both really good.
Second match was Ryan Schimmel from Pratt Industries. So he's in a faction with Ian Pratt and Justine Ward called Pratt Industries. So he's a heel against a wrestler named Matt Kerr. I've never seen this Matt Kerr before. He's from Newfoundland because you can't miss his accent. He had a promo with a yellow raincoat on and a yellow rain hat. So, you know what I mean? But
Shades of Dynamite Dylan Davis.
Yeah, a very, very skinnier version of him, but good in-ring skills, made a very strong impression. Like, I really enjoyed his thing. Ryan Schimmel as well. Very new wrestler. One of Kobe's students. Maybe less than 20 matches under his belt.
Okay.
But this guy really knows how to wrestle. I've seen him here in Moncton. He did wrestle for North Pro. I've seen him I've seen him at Kaizen, so I have seen him a few times around. Every time I see him, he keeps getting better and better. He's got the size, he's got the look. He's great on the mic. Very good banter, so I think he's going to make it far. Have you guys seen him at North Pro at all, or
Ryan Schimmel against, was it Bobby Boyette?
Bobby Boy?
We've seen him once, yeah.
Yeah.
He impressed me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool to see where it takes him and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Third match was Evan Gibbons facing Justine Ward. Evan was his debut singles match.
Oh, okay.
So he wrestled once at Kaizen's Battle Royal show on January 4th, but this was his first singles match. Very solid in-ring performance. You could tell there were some nerves there. Some of his transitions were a little slow, a little bit in his head. You know what I mean? What do I do next? Where do I move? What, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But the actual wrestling portion of it, very solid. And I mean, Justine's Justine. She'll make anybody, or they'll make anybody look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very. Justine's newer gimmick is weird.
Almost like a gremlin, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It reminds me of a gremlin. Growling, biting. The
effect.
Yeah, very, very. It's a weird gimmick, but it works. Especially for their size. I mean, they're not much bigger than a gremlin, so it works well. But they play it really well. So Justine did win that match. Evan's going to be somebody to watch out for.
We'll keep an eye out for Evan, yeah.
Fourth match, Daniel Wall versus Sydney Sweetie. Sydney Sweetie used to just go by Sid before.
Okay, yeah.
Fantastic comedy style match. It was absolutely reminded me a lot of like a Human Man type match. Very strong performances. Obviously, their wrestling was really good, but the whole comedy aspect of it was really good. Like running the ropes, Daniel Wall drops so Sid can jump over him, but instead of jumping over him, he just lays next to him. And he's like, Daniel's like, well, what are you doing here? Like, well, if you're laying down, I'm going to lay down. You know what I mean? So just like mirroring and doing the wrong things at the right time. It was really good. It was very comedic. Sydney did end up getting the win out of it. I saw Sydney wrestle this past summer at a Kaizen show we had went down. Still pretty new at the time. There, you could see that the nerves were there. This match, the nerves were gone. Very into his gimmick. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic match. Next match was a triple threat match. Ryan Denham versus Ken Frazier versus Sebi. Any match that Sebi's in is a comedy style match, in my opinion.
You gotta love Sebi. He's a hilarious guy.
It was, I mean, he delivered a perfect performance as always. You know what I mean? He's got the comedy, he's got the wrestling, he's got the tweener style, you know what I mean? He's not a heel, he's not a face, he's, So, and Ryan Denham, I mean, he just proved his versatility. The man's been wrestling for 15, 16 years now. Whether he's a heel, whether he's a face, it doesn't matter. He's good at what he does. If it's a serious role, he's good at it. If it's a comedy-based role, he's good at it. So there's a very good consistency there. Ken Frazier, I have never seen him wrestle before. I think he is pretty new. I had seen some promos where he had mentioned that he was in the same training class as Evan. So I'm not sure if he's already wrestled already, but yeah, he held his own well in the ring. He did well. He fit with Sebi really well. So I don't know if in the future if he's gonna continue being a comedy style wrestler or not, but it worked. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And then the last match, main event, was a tag team match. Covey Christ and Ian Pratt versus Bobby Boyett and Joey White. It was a shit show on as far as the match itself went. Match started off, Ryan Schimmel and Justine Ward come out to interfere to try and give Pratt and Covey the advantage, and they take out Bobby Boyett right away. So he's outside the ring laying down. Joey decides he wants to continue wrestling as a handicap. So then that goes on. And every time Covey went to tag Ian, there was something that Ian pulled his attention away. He either jumped off or pretended to get hurt or whatever, but he wouldn't tag in. He tagged in once, chopped Joey very hard. I'm sure it felt like he was going to take his head off. And that was his whole event. He was in once, one chop, never got back in the ring.
Wow.
Every time Covey went to tag him, he'd walk away. Bobby Boyett eventually did get up. Tagged in, was going well. I mean, Covey was being beaten at that point. Bobby was getting ready to pin him. Joey tagged himself in and pinned him instead. So then there was Bobby going, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Why are you... I had him. Like, what's going on here? So, you know what I mean? Like, there was the whole, like, Joey's ego was getting big, and him and Bobby were having a feud, and then Pratt wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, wasn't it? Anyway, it was an absolute shit show. After the whole event is done, there's video clips of a post show of a bunch of backstage segments.
Yep, we did see that, yeah.
So what they posted on their site already is only half of what happened. So that is the first part of it. Covey running around looking for Ian. The second part is where Ian, Ryan, and Justine are in the same room. And Ian is confronting Ryan and Justine because he didn't want them to interfere in the match because then it made Ian look weak.
Yeah.
And so anyway, there's that whole thing. So yeah, a whole bunch of good segments afterwards setting up the next event. All in all, I would give the whole night probably a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, good show.
Yeah, it was a good show.
The Joey White title reign has been, I'd say it's been pretty successful. I'm disappointed that there wasn't a title match here. But, you know, you can't have a title match on every single show if you're going every month.
I think there was supposed to be a title match against Boa, but Boa ended up on SmackDown.
Okay.
So they had to change things around last minute. Yes, Mark.
Is it possible that we could see a Bobby Boyett against Joey White type of deal here? That could be a possibility.
It's a good possibility.
I really want to see Ian Pratt and Joey White. I'll die on that hill. I want to see Ian Pratt as the Kaizen champion. I think he'd make a great champion.
It's coming.
Yeah, I'd love to see Ian Pratt as a champion anywhere. He's so underrated and so underused.
Yeah.
I think he's probably one of the best wrestlers in the Maritimes currently, and he's just not used enough.
The first time that I seen him actually was at a North Pro show when he was targeted by Stitchface.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him in a long time. I don't know where he is, but he's somewhere in the woods out there in Moncton. But yeah, like the selling was absolutely insane. I was like, he was flipping around. I was like, man, he's gonna get hurt.
Yeah,
he's in it to win it, man.
Yeah, the Titan Boar shows it's hard for him to pull off some of his moves because of the ceiling height. But at Alderney Landing, he does a coast-to-coast elbow.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy is sitting in the opposite corner, and he's coming across the entire ring with an elbow. Like, it's unbelievable, some of the moves that he pulls off from the top rope. It's unseen but he can't do it at most shows because the ceiling's too low, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if ever you guys get a chance to go see a show for Kaizen, Alderney Landing is the best venue that you'll go to.
Yeah, I've yet to go there, but I've heard nothing but good things about Alderney Landing.
It's unbelievable. It's not a big venue. It's literally it's like the Capitol almost, but your stage is flat with your landing. So the stage is where they come out. Then they have seats on either side, so they can come out through the stage. And there's actually chairs on the stage, and then it blends into the floor. Yeah, it's like a theater. And then you have, but there's no raised stage. The stage and the floor is all the same level.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Yeah, so it's very nice. Probably 200-300 people you could probably fit.
Okay, so not a bad venue.
But the ceiling, there's no ceiling height. You got probably a 30-foot ceiling, right? So they have the big screen behind the stage, so all your promos, all your Titantrons, everything is right there. Yeah, it's such a beautiful place, and because it's a theater, when they take a bump, you hear it echo, right?
Really,
like it's a beautiful, beautiful place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, again, Kaizen Pro Wrestling. You haven't seen them. They got a YouTube channel. They're on Facebook.
They're on IWTV as well.
IWTV.
So, independent wrestling television, subscription-based thing. It costs me like $15 a month. There's 352 independent wrestling promotions around the world. Kaizen's on there. So, yeah, you get a chance to watch all of their shows and stuff. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty damn cool. Moving on. Giant Orion. We're going to talk about Giant Orion for a minute here. The winner of Lutte Academy. In winning that, he gets a trip to Japan and Mexico, the Japanese wrestling promotion he will be going to. I've actually covered here on the Maritime Warrior, last week's episode, actually. Kyushu Pro Wrestling. Thoughts on Orion winning Lutte Academy and then making the trip to Japan and Mexico?
I mean, it worked for, God, why can't I think of his name? Blay. Blay won Lutte Academy, got some opportunities. Did he?
No, it was Moondog.
Okay.
Moondog won.
Moondog won it. Blay was on Lutte Academy and made those connections
Mm-hmm.
and ended up in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And now going, God, everywhere. I think anytime you get open doors internationally, you're doing something right. Good for Orion, man. He's got a lot of experience, former MMA guy, comes over, transitions to pro wrestling. He's been working everywhere. You see him in Maine, you see him in all
Ontario.
of those eastern United States, and Ontario, Alberta.
He's done West Bay for a while, yeah.
Yeah, like, the guy's putting in the work, man, just grinding, and that pays off. So good for him, man. Put himself out there like that.
Yeah, anytime you can benefit. I mean, first and foremost, he won $10,000. Who can't use $10,000?
Mm-hmm.
But anytime that you can benefit in more training, the better it is, because it's an industry that you never stop learning. There's always something that you can learn. And I mean, as good as he is, he's only been in the business for 3-4 years. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the more you learn, the better it is. An opportunity to go to Japan, go back to Mexico, because that's where he was originally trained, was in Mexico. This one here would be a different gym, so you get to learn from different people, different techniques. And I mean, I think he's going to do well in Japan because he's 6'7". I mean, you know what I mean? It's a novelty for them out there. It's going to be different,
Absolutely.
right? So if he can get a signed contract for Japan, even better.
See, Kyushu Pro Wrestling isn't. People are like, is it like New Japan and all that? It's not. It's really not. And yeah, so we'll see what happens there. Corey's messing with everything and losing my train of thoughts. Thank you for that.
No, I was adjusting the colors as closer to the logo. I have OCD, and then I wanted to see how beautiful you are, so I made you big screen.
There you go. So also for John Orion, he will be in Gatineau Pro Wrestling, and he has won the NCG Wrestling World Championship. So he's still in Canada, and he's still going everywhere. So Gatineau
What
Pro
Gatineau
Wrestling.
Pro?
I think it's in Quebec, right?
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Gatineau's in Quebec, but I've never heard of Gatineau Pro.
Me neither.
Jason,
So,
within your way.
Yeah, it's something that I noticed not too long ago. He's got a match coming up here soon. Gatineau Pro. When is it here? I don't know if I have it written down on in April, I do believe. But he's going to be wrestling against Gabriel Savage's gimmick, Salvaticus.
Yep.
Okay.
So it'll be cool to see two Maritime people out in Quebec wrestling against each other. I think they have some experience wrestling each other for Real Savage, so
Yep.
It'll be cool because it'll end up giving the Gatineau crowd a good match because they've already worked each other. They know how they move. You know what I mean? So it's not
Yep.
like a fresh start.
So Gatineau Pro started in 2022. Just looked them up really quickly. Gatineau, obviously a suburb of or the Quebec side of Ottawa, so they're right there. But yeah, 2022, so a fairly new promotion, bringing in some great maritime wrestlers. So good for them, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a correction, he's not 6'7", he's 7 feet, 310 pounds. What are you talking about?
Mark, he's all about the kayfabe.
Mark's all over the poster, baby.
I've seen him. By the way, it's on the 29th of March.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
We just talked about him, Gabe Savage. Let's talk about him for a second. He is also going to be in Gatineau Pro Wrestling. Just talked about that. He wrestled in France.
Yeah, he just got back from France.
So that's huge. You know, the European wrestling circuit, I guess you could say, it's not something I'm familiar with. Like UK wrestling a little bit. France has a wrestling promotion. Didn't know about that.
Apparently, France has quite a few. Italy, I guess, is a very, very big in the pro wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, I follow a wrestler called Red Scorpion from Italy. He's a luchador, and the promotion that he wrestles for in Italy is like their WWE. It's very big. It's like, you know what I mean? And he's like their top guy.
Really?
And yeah, well, like I mean, when they have an event, it's like 5,000-6,000 people.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So is this promotion the promotion that Savage wrestled for?
The one that Savage wrestles for in Quebec. I did watch a couple of their matches, and very good stuff. Almost kind of
In
reminds
France, right?
me in France. Yeah. Almost kind of reminded me of a NSPW.
Okay. Interesting.
Almost that type of crowd as well. Probably 1,000 people, maybe.
It's a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, good crowd. It was pretty cool. The announcers that they had were English as well, which I found different because it's a France promotion. But
yeah, that's weird. Huh?
Yeah, but it was good. The matches were good, and some of the talent they have is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I like that French Canadian guys go to France and their gimmick is they're the arrogant French Canadian. When they're in Canada, they're the arrogant guy from Paris. It's just kind of amusing how it works out, man. But it gets you over.
Yeah,
his gear was beautiful. He had like the Acadian flag on his jacket. That's one thing I'll say about Gabe Savage. Spares no expense. His gear is really, really nice.
Yeah, he's got a whole new Vaticanus gear there that he just thing as well. The whole new jumpsuit and the whole new ring entrance gear, and yeah, it looks cool.
I don't think Corey was there
on the posters.
I've never seen Gabe Savage wrestle live. Never seen him wrestle live. I wasn't at that one North Pro show.
Weren't you?
No.
I don't know if Corey was at...
You went, and I was at the Mirror Machine Northman game last year. Yeah. I've never seen Gabe Savage.
I don't know if Corey was there for the game, but I met Gabe Savage in Shippagan for a Carsara game. You were not. So I saw him coming, and we like kind of locked eyes and kind of gave a like, what are you doing here type of thing? But it's his neck of the woods. It's the peninsula. And with me with the BSHL podcast. It was super cool. He's a super nice guy. He's also announced that he will be wrestling for Las Vegas and also Japan. And the Japan thing is something that's interesting me because I'm wondering if he's close with Giant Orion and Orion's taking him to Kyushu Pro Wrestling.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know Las Vegas, he's doing a tour down there between the 14th and 21st of April.
Yeah.
And then there is more bookings apparently coming in the future of him going back to the U.S.
Okay.
As well as Japan. So yeah, it'll be cool to see. I have seen him wrestle live. I've actually went to a Real Savage show. Very cool arena.
Yeah.
It's like a community center church, but they could fit quite a few people. I think the night that we went, they sold out. They had to put more and more chairs, and they had people sitting on the stage. They had people sitting in the staircase. Probably like 600 people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so they bring in a good crowd. He has a good following up there. There's no other wrestling up there.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It's
The only close
one.
thing they have was CAW, or now it's going to be XAW.
Yeah,
But, they haven't had a show in a while.
and a lot of their guys are actually wrestling for Gabe. So
yeah.
yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a good venue. It's a good show. He has a good production. He's not afraid to spend the money to make money. So he puts on a good production. Yeah, if ever you guys get a chance to go up, it's a long drive, but
We know.
I mean, Corey
neck
does
of
it
the
anyway.
woods.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah. Final thing here. This weekend on March 7th, United Wrestling is having their first show. On the card, the War Machine Rhino. Yes, ECW WE superstar Rhino. Andre Myatt's on the card. AWOL, Brian DeVaro and Alex Miller. Thad Howitt, Deuce, Robbie McAllister, and the returning Riddick Stone. Thoughts on this card, gentlemen?
I wish them well. It's a nice mix of young and old. You know what I mean? Rhino there, Robbie McAllister. Everybody talks about him as being a Maritime wrestler now, but a lot of people forget he is WWE alumni.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean it's a great card. Andre, always fun to watch. AWOL, best up and coming tag team in the Maritimes right now.
Without a doubt.
They're going to be the next champions within the next year, I would imagine, somewheres. Deuce is always fun to watch. He is a powerhouse. So, yeah, I think it's going to be fun having Riddick Stone on the card as well. First match back after a long hiatus. So, yeah, it'll be fun. I wish them all the best. They're going to be at the Greenwich Volunteer Fire Department in Greenwich, Nova Scotia, not far from Kentville, March 7th. So, if you guys are in that area, definitely go take a look. You won't be disappointed.
Nothing?
Nothing.
I've got nothing.
Okay.
So actually, I was just looking at the information concerning United Wrestling. If I'm not mistaken, we were talking about Lutte Academy, and actually, I do see that the female winner of the 2024 is that possible? Like Zandra Lee.
She has wrestled here, yes. I believe.
She is on the card, I believe, for United Wrestling.
Cool.
It is. I believe it is confirmed for March 2025. I don't know if it changed, but that's interesting.
Okay.
Cool.
So that is basically the episode 1 here. Next week, we will be talking about North Pro and IHW that have a show on March 14th. Later on tonight, 9 p.m., we have our first interview. Justin Summers and Adam Doucette, owners of IPW, Island Pro Wrestling. We had a quick chat with them, so stay tuned at 9 for that. Anything else to add before we sign out, gentlemen?
No, thanks for joining us. We hope you guys enjoyed the show, and don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We'll be here every week.
Every week.
Thanks, guys, for joining. I think it's going to be a pretty fun project, an interesting project. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Absolutely.
Have a great evening, guys. Enjoy.
So with that
Have a
being
good
said,
time.
have a good time.
We'll
With
see
that
you
being
guys
said,
out there, man.
all right, let me sign out. Let me sign out, you
Smart
douchebag.
guy.
All right, with that being said, we'll see you next week. And don't forget, every Wednesday, the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling Podcast. Till then, take care, guys.
Take care.
Cheers.